We are so impatient in today's day and age, and I'm definitely guilty of this. And if you are a parent, then you definitely are guilty of this. But don't feel discouraged. It is actually, in today's generation, biggest curse is that even we have everything, all of the technology at our disposal to make us not rush. We find a way to put in more things into our day-to-day activities just to prove that we can do it all. We have dishwashers now, so we don't spend that much time washing dishes, and then we find something else to do in that time that the dishwasher is working. Or we have a washing machine, and everything is done for us, at least for women. I'm talking from a woman's perspective, to not rush, and we still do. Why is that, I wonder? Some part of the answer came from this book. I already did a video on that. It's gonna be linked somewhere here. But this particular point that was covered in this book was such an eye-opener for me as to why we rush and why do we always think that we don't have enough time at our disposal. A very interesting thing I found out that it has been calculated that if Amazon's front page loaded 1 second more slowly, the company would lose 1.6 billion in annual sales. It blows my mind how impatient and how little tolerance we have for anyone, beginning with road rage and ending up with, raging at our children. And from a parent's perspective, because I have toddlers and I have my teenage kids, I always taught them, and I'm trying to be very clear about not wasting anyone's time and not taking advantage of people's time, because this is one of the most valuable tools we get in our life is time. That's everything we have. And by making people wait for you, you're robbing them of that time, which is the biggest form of disrespect, I find. So if I were to go to toddlers, with my toddlers, I usually have much more patience just because they do not have an overall knowledge of time yet, and they're very much in their own little world. That's why I bought timers, and I'm trying to teach them the concept of time and how many minutes one or other task takes, just so they can understand that if I'm at the door and I'm trying to get them dressed, that they should actually get dressed instead of doing something else. But again, they're children, they're toddlers. Don't expect too much of your toddlers. They're too young to grasp the concept of minutes and hours. With my teenager though, I am being very strict when it comes to this topic, because my father, this is all generational trauma for sure. I don't know why we look at it as trauma. These are actually not the bad habits. Any kind of generational trauma is not all bad. Like, my parents were raised in a former Russian republic. I was raised to some degree in a former Russian republic post-communism, and the concept of food is very strict with my parents, which installed it in me, which I'm unfortunately to some degree installing in my children.
Mommy, can we have this?
Oh my God, no, this is for the
whole thing. Yeah,
no,
eat the whole,
what?
Eat the whole bag, Gabi.
No, Gabi,
I want to eat only one.
It is generational trauma, but it's not all bad. So I don't see that as everything that our parents installed in us, it's just trauma and we need to always fix it, and they were bad. They were not all bad, and they did the best they could with the tools they had. Anyways, going back to the concept of time. So with my teenage daughter, I'm trying to explain to her the importance of being slightly earlier than your appointment or than your meeting, than your meet with someone. That shows sign of respect, I would say even love. That shows a sign of seriousness that you're approaching a certain situation, a certain gathering, whoever you're meeting with. And for me, it was installed in me by my father that it's very important to be slightly earlier than your appointment. Always. It doesn't need to be 10 minutes. It needs to be 5 minutes. 5, 4, 3 minutes. That just shows how much you value the other person's time. It was proven, and again, I learned it from this book, that we are all suffering from societal impatience. Like those microwaves in an office that always have like a couple of seconds left. Someone just couldn't wait for his food to warm fast enough. And this is a pandemic at this point because of all the technological advancement. Now we feel like like we're limitless. You know, we can do 1,000 things a day while the machine is washing, while the vacuum is vacuuming, while something else is getting done automatically. Then I can squeeze in everything in my day, which is going back to my previous video I did on how to manage your time. It's virtually impossible. You're always going to fail at something, and I'm learning that just now. Unfortunately, it only took me like 40 years, that you always will be failing at some part of your life because it's generally possible to manage all of it. So because I was a single parent for such a long time, for me it was like, well, such a long time periodically, but yeah, most of my life I was a single parent. You are going to do something bad, so either your clothes, you're gonna forget about them and they're gonna stay in the machine wet before you remember that you need to take them out, or your food is gonna burn, or you are gonna burn something if you're ironing something. So I find that I need to usually combine one heavy task and one light task. If I'm cooking, I'll put my Audible book, or I'll be cooking two things at the same time. So I don't try to overwhelm myself and put 2 to 3 tasks at the same time, because definitely something is gonna get done badly. This book goes over one of the most impatient activities that people were actually questioned, and there was a study done. What is the most impatient activity you find is reading. People actually don't know that it takes so much time and so much patience to actually sit and read and do nothing else but reading. And I find that I'm so impatient with reading that I need to highlight things. I need to do at least one more activity, besides the fact that it's kind of useful because I use it as an inspiration for my videos. But I find that I'm impatient even in my reading because I need to highlight stuff. And one of the main impatient activities is reading, because you actually need to set the time to have the intention of reading, to sit on a couch outside at a coffee shop, take and open the book and read letter by letter, word by word, page by page. And it's a very satisfying activity for someone who's a reader, but at the same time, sometimes it feels like it's a waste of time. Like I could be listening to that book while I do something else, which I tend to do sometimes because I'm so impatient. And yeah, I found it curious, and I wanted to share this with you, that if you are an impatient person, then reading is definitely not for you. But if you want to improve on your patience, this is one of the exercises that you should do. You should actually put a timer for 20 minutes, take a book and sit and do nothing else but read. So yeah, whether you are a patient or impatient person, you should definitely appreciate the meaning of time. Another scientific fact from this book: do know that for impatient people, the time goes by that much slower than for patient people. You think that there's never enough time for anything, so it kind of goes slow for you. But if you feel like you are impatient, what I do for myself, I try to collect myself. I try to take a couple of deep breaths. I know it sounds kind of cliche that everyone says the same thing, but it is true and it does work. If I just stop myself and collect myself and realize that by being impatient, I might rush things that are so meaningful and that are so memorable for me, that once my children, for example, are gonna get older, I'm going to miss those moments where they were learning how to put their shoes on. They were learning how to brush their teeth. They were learning how to tidy up, and me being impatient and hurry, I installed certain anxiety in them. So work on your impatience and be appreciative and respectful of time, but at the same time learn to slow down and enjoy kind of the surroundings, the moments in your life. Anyways, so please do comment down below how you are managing your time if you have little kids and you have teenagers. Anyways, I'll see you in my next video.